What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another video today. And in this video, we are at Sioux Falls Regional Airport for the 70th airport update for the month of November 2025. We reach another milestone for the airport updates, as this is now the first airport update series, besides Random Model Airports, to reach 70 episodes. We've got a solid update this month with some fun variety and other news to go over for FSD. We'll start off with the Delta Main Line at Gate 3. As always, Gate 1 now cordoned off due to the ongoing terminal construction. Unfortunately, I have not been able to grab a picture of the current field of development with this terminal expansion. So I'll try, hopefully around winter break in a couple weeks, I'll drive up to the airport, check it out. But the weather has been kind of crappy around Thanksgiving. We had a nice little winter storm blast through here, our first major one of the season. So yeah, we'll take a look at that in December. But starting off, we have the Delta Atlanta flight on the A319 still, arriving in as flight 2615 at 11:06 p.m., 3 minutes early. And I'll do a quick check on the aircraft type for next month during the route roundup to see if they'll have anything special on it, like a 717 or a 737, as they've done the past couple of years. But right next to that, we have the American A320, operating the DFW mainline turn, as has been the case. I mentioned last month that they will drop it briefly, and then they'll bring it back in February with the 320, so that'll be nice. They won't have just the 319, they'll have some of the larger aircraft in the mix. This arrived in as flight 2872 at 12:31 p.m., 5 minutes early. And then moving over into the United section, got a couple of United aircraft to work with here. 3 of them in total. I've got a couple of the regionals, wanted to feature more of those. And then the main line, I've got the Unicon livery back, a very much a dying breed out in the wild. We'll start off with the Embraer 175, arriving in from Denver as flight 5700, a SkyWest aircraft, arriving in at 11:21 p.m., 23 minutes early. And then our main line today is also from Denver, and this arrived in as flight 645 at 8:17 p.m., just 6 minutes early. It's been kind of fun seeing the Unicon livery over the years, but obviously I kind of like Evo more, so it's been nice seeing those more often. But over at Gate 6, the CRJ 550, all the CRJ 700s for a while, they have been repainted, and then of course the 550s came delivered with the Evo colors. But the CRJ 550 is on the Chicago turn. This is a GoJet operated one. As I've talked about, I featured some of the SkyWest 550s previously, since they've been getting those. This arrived in as flight 4400 at 10:27 a.m., 15 minutes early. And then our last aircraft, way down by gate number 4 here. Need to work on getting this cordon off a little better, but we'll make this work. So you saw, look there at the current facade of FSD, which is going to look much different once the entire expansion piece has been put together. So I'm not sure what the full plans are for that, if they're going to keep the existing facade in the areas where they're not working on the renovation, or if they're just going to redo the whole thing to make it look consistent. We'll see what they do, but I'll definitely be excited to check it out on my next trip. So we have the Delta Connection, Embraer 175 at Gate 4. It seems like this has been kind of a routine. I've never really talked about it, but it's always the Minneapolis flight that parks at Gate 4, and then for the Atlanta main line, they always take 3. And then, of course, Allegiant and Frontier will park at that gate now that Gate 1 is no longer there due to the construction. This arrived in as flight 4069, operated by SkyWest at 9:59 a.m., pretty early there, about 20 minutes ahead of schedule, 19 to be exact. So that is all the aircraft we have at the terminal. I'll go ahead and do our quick route roundup segment to see what is happening with regards to all of the services out of FSD as we head into the winter period. We'll start off with Delta from Minneapolis. No major changes to really note. The main line is still the A319. We'll have about 3 to 5 daily less around Christmas Day. And then down into Chicago, start off with the American service. I need this pop-up to go away. That would be wonderful. Over to Chicago on American, they're going to start December with a bunch of CRJ 700s, but on December 18th they're switching to the Embraer 175s exclusively, so interesting switch there. And then for United, mainline primarily on the 737-800, and actually drop the mainline starting around December 19th. They're going to go down to just the 550s and the 175s there. Down to Nashville on Allegiant, Monday, Friday is what we're working with. And then Atlanta for December will still be the A319, so no major changes to report on with the ATL mainline. They're not going to go creative this time around, but we'll see what it's like in January. And then Orlando Sanford will do about 2 to 3 weekly, extra frequency around the holidays. Fort Lauderdale will start up next month, December 19th. They'll run through around May of 2026. Then we have Punta Gorda. They will do about Sunday, Thursday, roughly, and then they'll switch it up a little bit around Christmas. St. Petersburg, kind of the same deal, Monday, Friday, and then extra frequencies during the holidays. DFW, the main line, we got 2 of the main line, A319, then they'll have a couple of the days where they'll swap in a 320 just because, and then the third frequency still the 175. And actually on New Year's Eve, both flights will be mainline, so no 175 on that day. Over to Phoenix with Mesa, pretty much daily, except for a few select days around early to mid-December. They're not going to fly it, but otherwise you can get there just about any day of the week. And then Phoenix still rocking with the 2 daily, including the 1 overnight service. Las Vegas, pretty sporadic across the schedule, but the first full week of December they'll operate that every day, and then they'll drop it down again just because. And then onward to Denver, starting with the Frontier. Looks like they're primarily going to utilize the 321 Neo, so good opportunities to spot some of the more exotic tails within their fleet. And then as for United, they do have the 737-900 scheduled on some days, but otherwise the 738 for the main line is what they're rocking with. And then the 175s here, and then they're going to switch to the CRJ 550s around the 18th and the 19th. So that's all the routes that we have. I kind of wish we had a new route to work with, but ultimately we do not, and that has resulted in a lot less excitement. It's been a very long time since we've had any sort of new route developments or anything with these folks right over here at Allegiant. Obviously, the fact that we don't have any gate space is quite the negative impact on any sort of expansion plans here. So hopefully with the new gates, we'll see Allegiant add some of those new services that other airports that I cover on the channel have been getting lately, because Omaha picked up Gulf Shores, Des Moines had it for a while, and then, you know, you get like Destin, Philadelphia is a new city on the Allegiant network. Burbank, you can go there now. We had Orange County, we had San Diego, Los Angeles, Austin, just a wide variety of cities on Allegiant back when the gate space was there. But obviously, since we're down a gate, it's not going to really help matters. So we'll just have to make do with it, and hopefully when the expansion piece opens up, we'll be all set. So we'll start off with the taxiing aircraft. We have the A319 for Allegiant on the Vegas turn, arriving at flight 1704 at 10:35 a.m., 21 minutes early. Next to that, we have the Embraer 175 for American Eagle, also taxiing in. We'll have to park at the hard stand because there's no gate space. This arrived in from Phoenix Sky Harbor, and this is the second service, the overnight flight. Actually arrived in an hour late at 12:32 a.m., so not ideal there, especially on that late night hop, because I don't remember the exact time that leaves Phoenix, but obviously with the time zone difference, it's going to be a lot more substantial. I think you probably leave at around, because it's scheduled to arrive at 11:30, I want to say, so it'll be 9:30 Pacific time for Arizona, and then subtract like 3 hours or so. So you leave at like 6:30, and then you get back at almost midnight. And with that case, it was after midnight, so oof. And our last aircraft for the update, we have the Allegiant A320. This arrived in from Phoenix as well, but Mesa this time. Arriving in as flight 647 at 11:18 a.m., 19 minutes early. So that is all the aircraft for FSD. Not as exciting as some of the recent updates. Again, I was hoping to have an update on the terminal expansion, but because of the bad weather and just overall too many conflicts in my schedule, just could not get this put together in time with regards to that. But for December, I'll be sure to get that all sorted, because as of right now, they've still been just kind of clearing out the grounds for where the new terminal expansion will be. And I know that they are supposed to have started on the foundation work by now and started raising up the actual terminal here. So once that gets put together, we'll certainly see some exciting pictures that I'll take for that expansion. This will be just like the parking garage deal that I covered a couple years ago. So remember when that first started, and then just covering that over time up until it ultimately opened, and then finally getting to check it out when I went to Florida last year. That was a lot of fun to do. And then now here we are with the new terminal expansion after all these years. I really hope we get all the new gates, and finally that will become reality. At least by March of 2027 is when they say they will have that opened, which looks like they are on track for that. With that being said, thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.